Welcome back to OT the Podcast, where we talk about watches, time, and how to spend it. And Andy, this week we've got a very particular and worthwhile way how to spend it.
We do, Felix. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode. We're not going to have the usual bits and pieces or fluff at the start. We're going to get straight to it. We have Shawn Stockman joining us in a moment to talk about a project that's very close to him, and it's all based around a limited edition watch. This is the second time he's done it with SevenFriday, which I'm sure everyone listening knows. It's a limited edition watch of 100 pieces. Shawn's charity, Shawn and his wife set up a charity, I should say, called Micah's Voice. All of the proceeds of the sale typically go to Micah's Voice, the charity. What we're doing, Felix, is we've secured a piece thanks to our SevenFriday. They set one aside for us, for us to do an Instagram auction, which is something different for us. And what we're going to do is open up an Instagram post the day after this episode comes out. So it'll be Saturday, 8 a.m. Saturday Australian Standard Time on the 11th of September. And for 24 hours, we're going to do a Instagram comments auction. So effectively, we'll have an opening bid of 500 Aussie dollars. You just comment your bid, legally binding, of course. And we'll just run up the price and see where we can get it. It's going to be open for 24 hours. And basically what happens is there's going to be a soft close, 8 a.m. the following day, so the 12th. But every new bid will add 5 minutes to that timeline. So if, at 5 to 8, someone gets a bid in, then it sort of...
You got a bit of a right of reply on that one.
You've got a bit of a right of reply. So Felix, myself, Shawn will all be in the comments throughout that sort of period, through that window, really drumming up a bit of interest and kind of getting people excited about it. The winner's going to get a link to check out and just directly pay for it. The watch is currently in my possession, so I'll be shipping it out, which is pretty cool. Shawn's got a care package put together of Boyz II Men signed merch, so that
we'll let him. He talks about that in the interview, but there's some good stuff in there, and there's something a little special he promised for us.
Yeah, so look, the retail on this is $960 US. He said if it goes for 5 times retail, then you're going to get a Zoom performance. But as a minimum, you're going to get a phone call to say thank you for supporting Micah's Voice and obviously SevenFriday. This is really exciting for us, as we've sort of said, every single dollar. So the 100% of that winning bid is going to go to charity, and like things like the payment handling and shipping and logistics and whatever we'll cover. We want to make sure like the maximum amount goes to charity.
Yeah, and as Shawn sort of says, all the funds, like you said, every single dollar will go to Micah's Voice, and what Micah's Voice does with that money is directly supporting families with children, living with that are autistic and need support around OTs, behavioural therapists, any other support that they need. Micah's Voice supplies grants, which is really great and direct. One-to-one, support.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Shawn talks about sort of his personal connection, his experience, and really does talk to the work that Micah's Voice does in detail in this recording. Of course, we talk about watches. We caught up with him January or February this year, so we kind of touch base and hear all about what he's been up to, which has been a lot, and also what he's been up to with watches. So, Felix, I feel like we just get straight to it.
Less of us, more of Boyz II Men.
It's always a good rule. Felix.
Andy Green, how are you?
I'm very well. We have a return guest, Mr. Shawn Stockman from Boyz II Men. He's back for the second time this year on
because I love you guys so much.
Well, we love you too, Shawn. What's been happening?
Back on the road. Doing my thing and with the fellas and just getting reacclimated to a very, very different world. Learning how to navigate through it and really just still finding ways to enjoy life and have a good time. And that's really what it's all about for me at this point. Life is really shown how fragile it is. And I think we talked about it before. And it has not changed. And as far as how we should apply our appreciation to each day that we live. And I'm happy to still do what I do after 30 years and people still enjoy it after so many years. So there's nothing I can really complain about. Our families are healthy. Everybody's happy. I'm hanging out with you guys, and it's good.
Got the beard.
And now, Shawn, It's lovely to chat to you about, facial hair and touring, but we're actually here for a bit more of we've got a bit of a purpose today.
Yes.
We want to find out about your relationship with SevenFriday as well as Micah's voice.
Well, first off, SevenFriday is a watch company that was founded by a good friend of mine who I've known for over 10 years. His name is Dan Niederer, maybe even longer than that. It's been a while. But he's a gentleman with tastes that are very similar to mine, philosophies that are very different, or rather very similar to mine. And it's one of the reasons why we got along outside of being avid watch lovers. We share the same interests in life and wine and just enjoying life in general. And through the years of us gaining a rapport and finding those common interests and being able to see each other from time to time, whether it's in Europe or whether it's in the United States, Danny was generous enough to provide a service and create a special edition, a watch for a foundation that my wife and I founded many years ago called Micah's Voice. It is named after my son, Micah, who was diagnosed with autism at 2 years old. We felt like there was something that we needed to do to help other families who are affected by autism that may not understand how to get help for their respective child. So we created this foundation, and obviously with all nonprofits, it needs money to work. Yep. So Danny was very gracious in creating our very first, this was years ago, our very first Micah's Voice special edition SevenFriday timepiece. And with that being, those watches being sold out under 24 hours, we were able to really get a jump start on our foundation. And since then, we've been helping kids predominantly in California, the state of California. And here we are again with the T102. This is the second edition of the Micah's Voice SevenFriday timepiece. Changed it a little bit. If you guys have seen the first one and seen how it's evolved to the second one, you kind of see some of the details that has changed, some of the upgrades to the dial and even the movement itself and just the way it looks. It's a little slicker, it's a little cooler. And again, all proceeds go to Micah's Voice, which in turn, in case you guys don't know or wondering, well, where does the money go? It literally goes to families in providing grants for their child, which means normally with a child on the spectrum, the autistic spectrum, in order for them to increase in their learning and their understanding and cognitiveness and all those things, they need certain therapists and behaviorists and things of that nature. We provide services and grants for those kids to get that jump start. So, and it really makes a huge difference in the child's life. And the parents see it and the kids feel it. So this is our way of providing what was provided to our own son and what we still provide for him, even at his age of 18 years old.
That's really touching to hear sort of the personal connection and the work that you're doing. And as people might have figured out, we've actually secured one of the second runs. So we have a special piece, Shawn. We're going to do an Instagram auction, which is a first for us, and we're going to let the comments run wild, and hopefully we can get multiples of the retail price, because I think this will be sold out by now. About $1,000 US, I think, or 900 US.
Yeah, it's like 960. So you could say with taxes about $1,000.
About $1,000. I reckon we can try and get some multiples of that. So we'll talk about the mechanics in a second in detail. But yeah, basically we're going to throw in some signed Boyz II Men merch from yourself.
Signed Boyz II Men merch. Actually, I'm waiting. Hopefully, I'll be getting these soon. But you'll also get one of these too.
Pop vinyl.
You're gonna get one of these Funko Pops.
Yes.
Of me.
Well, I already have one, but yeah, it's great. The Shawn
See
Stockman
that?
pop vinyl. Yeah.
Look at this handsome devil. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, this is him with a more manicured beard.
Bit more color in it too.
Still got the iconic roses though. I see that's good.
Yes, of course,
Never have them.
Never leave home without a rose.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. We got that's our signature. With the collegiate sweaters. The jeans, nice little white sneakers. Normally they're Air Force Ones, but I think that. But anyway, so yeah, you got these, and yeah, man. So you'll get one of these
stuff.
Amongst other stuff too. So
yeah. We're gonna do a Zoom as well
for the lucky winner.
So for the winner, there's going to be a Zoom. So we'll hang out. I think we were sort of joking about getting a performance out of you and myself on the triangle. I don't know, Felix, can you play an instrument?
You'll definitely get a phone call. You'll definitely get a phone call of me saying thank you. I don't know about the performance part, but I will definitely call you guys, whoever the winner is, and say thank you personally, because again, you are really making a huge difference in someone's life. So I have to say personally to that person who wins this particular contest, thank you very, very much for your donation.
Yeah, and so 100%, whatever we come in, the payment link's going to go straight to charity. So, SevenFriday we actually got this piece set aside for us. So there's 100% of what that bid amount is going to go to charity, which is amazing because obviously there's some other costs involved, but we managed to minimize that. And everything from shipping and even the credit card fees, like we're gonna personally cover as well. So we'll make sure that it goes well. I think it's gonna go. I think it should go nicely, Shawn. Look, should we set a challenge for like maybe getting a song out of you? Maybe if it's like, I don't know, how many times retail? What's the bar?
How about this? If it's 5 times retail.
All right.
No, it's the you got to hit the appearance fee.
All right, so, 5,000 US. We'll convert that to Aussie.
If it's 5 times retail, you'll get a song out of me for sure.
100%.
Nice.
All right, and if it's less, then you're going to get a song out of me. So that incentivizes.
There you go. And that's it.
You don't want that. You don't want that. You don't want.
You either get Boyz II Men or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll still get it.
Two terrible blokes.
Yeah. That's the new group.
The new group.
We're the Australian tribute band.
There you go.
You've never heard of us before because we're terrible.
You don't want to hear of us. You don't want to hear of us. You want to hear Shawn's sweet vocals. Well, amazing. So, it's a lovely watch, Shawn. What was your input like on the design of this one? Because there's sort of obviously there's the logo and there's a little bit of text on the dial. I'm looking at it now, and there's sort of a bit of a cheeky wink face almost. So what is it like designing a watch?
I was almost kind of a little scaredy cat when it came to my input, because as much crap I talk, about watches and say, if I had this, I would do this and all this other stuff. And then when you get a guy that actually says, okay, what do you want to do? Yeah. And I'm sitting there like, So I added a few elements. Like, for example, he sent me how it originally looked. Mm-hmm. I kind of changed maybe the hue of the dial and maybe the placement of where the smile is, and just little things, subtleties here and there. And then he did all the heavy lifting. I mean, I didn't want to go too crazy because, again, this is, I love watches, but I don't consider myself a watch expert nor a watch designer. And I know my lane. I add my 2 cents, and then I just kind of let the experts do what the experts do. But again, Danny was extremely just giving, what do you want to do? How you want it to look? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, I want it to look like this. That's all I know. You do the rest, and then I'll be happy. And I'm very happy with how it came out, because it has a look that you can wear this watch with anything. And it's the alternative to the usual suspects. That if you're in a business meeting, or if you're going to a dinner or a luncheon or something like that, and you don't want to necessarily wear the normal things, you put this on, especially amongst other watch enthusiasts, and it's a conversation piece.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. It's like, I love the way the design came out, because I've worn this on since I've had it in different scenarios. I've worn it, in the swimming pool, because I took it with me to on vacation to Maui with my family. And it looked really, really smart and really nice when I dressed it up. And it does work. And it goes really well with anything else that you want to wear. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's got that iconic SevenFriday sort of square with sort of round design, round edges design. It's it's a nice thickness. It's not too big.
Right.
Yeah, it's super wearable.
Right.
And then some really nice sort of yellow touches on the strap and on the dial to really kind of bring it to life. Which obviously bring in the Micah's voice branding as well. So it's sort of a really nice. And of course, the message on the dial says, was it say a little bit louder?
A little bit louder now. Because
a little bit louder now.
Normally, at least with my son, his issue is that he doesn't speak loud enough.
Okay.
He's very soft and very quiet. So a lot of times we got to tell Micah, louder. Hi, daddy. No, louder.
Yeah.
So that's where we kind of get that from. It's our little thing, with my own son. Not to mention, it's kind of a popular phrase to from the Isley Brothers record shout. You make me want it just a little bit louder now, a little bit louder now, a little bit louder. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It correlates. I'm a musician.
Yep.
Micah, his voice. It's about the voice being louder, and it's a double entendre to mean for those who know anything about autism. If you really want to help, speak a little bit louder about it.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's really the only way we'll all make a huge difference in the lives of what is now over 70 million people with autism on this planet Earth. So if we speak up, if we speak a little louder for those people, if we advocate for those men and women, those boys and girls, then we can really help some people out.
Amazing. Well, like we said, it's going to be auctioned on our OT Instagram page. So this episode's going up Friday. This is going to be the auction will be the following Saturday, so the day after, and we'll leave it open for 24 hours. So let's do our best to get a Zoom performance out of Shawn. And it's a lovely watch. I've got it in my hands right now, so I'll be sending it to the winner, which is cool. I can't wait to see kind of how it goes and who it is. And yeah, Felix, you've been. On the topic of Shawn, while we have you, there's been a fair bit happening. Obviously, I mentioned we caught up earlier this year. Must have been 8 months ago now, which is wild to think. But you've definitely been busy.
Yeah, I think I've seen more Shawn Stockman. Maybe it's now because I've spoken to you. I'm just seeing you everywhere. Like I turned on Netflix one night in the middle of lockdown or something, and there you are, front and center, talking about the history of pop music. That was a really great mini series, and I think it introduced maybe a new generation to just what an influence you had on the music scene in America and the world. What was that like?
We did that interview like years ago, honestly, and I'm not trying to downplay it at all. It's just that I literally forgot about it. Like when it came out, I was like, oh snap. That interview we did, great, and I kind of watched it, and they really did a good job in getting our point across as far as like just a small, minuscule component of what me and the guys actually went through during our quote unquote height, and I was very proud of it. A lot of friends and a lot of people called and texted and said how great it was and how much they were educated on just our journey, and they didn't know how tough it was at certain points. Like, everybody sees the accolades and the plaques and the awards and stuff, and which is nice, but there was a price to a lot of it. And things that still affect us to this day that we had to endure, and we still have to endure. And it's honestly a wonder and a blessing, to be honest, that we're still even around, because leave it up to the powers that be, we were probably would have been a foregone conclusion. So that was just our way of kind of expressing to everyone that you can't judge a book by its cover, and everything that looks sweet isn't always sweet.
Yeah, and I think it's really it was interesting for me to sort of to think about exactly that. Like, maybe it's for a lot of people it's some pop records from back in the day, but to see just how big a impact that had on your life. But I think for me, more importantly, the impact you had on music going forward. Were you, and it's easy for me watching one, Netflix doco, but this is your life. Like, is that something that you're proud of, like, or that you think about in that way?
I'm extremely proud. I'm extremely proud of what we endured, and still at such a young age, still encase the level of grace behind even a lot of the things that people now are aware of, that we were always aware of, but we still had to put our smiles on and still do our job and still do what needs to be done. It's a testament to our understanding and our wisdom, even at that young age, of knowing that, we know this is a raw deal. We know that there are certain things that aren't happening the way that we hoped, despite what people might think or say. But you know what? We're still going to go out. We're still going to smile. We're still going to not be utter assholes. And we're still going to, continue to do what we do. And I think that it helped us, and it paid dividends in the long run.
Yeah, it's really cool to see, and I watched the documentary as well, and I sort of you popped up, and it starts in Melbourne, and I was like, oh fuck, this is amazing. And I'm looking at you now. You got the Grammys on the shelf behind you that you probably, one of them's probably from like whilst I was being born in the 90s, and it's super cool for me to see, artists that I actually grew up with. So someone like Usher, a few weeks ago you reposted a video of him on stage talking about the influence that your music had on him, as obviously being a little bit younger than you, and I guess what's it like when you see stuff like that, when you see I mean, Usher's been performing for for a while now as well, but like you see these still to this day, like the influence is being felt. What's that like?
It's still an honor. It's still very much an honor. It's really hard to articulate how amazing that feels. It's very humbling, and it definitely helps when you don't always feel your best. You don't always feel like you've done enough, or that you've done hardly anything. I know that sounds weird, but all artists, I think we go through that. Like when I saw for example, Jordan in the Last Dance documentary, the man has won 6 championships, and he's still kind of wishing that he won 7. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always that. I think that just comes with loving your craft and loving what you do so much that you always want to see how much more you want to do. But with that being said, it's nice that people appreciate what we've done so far. I just hope that it's not a sign that it's done. And that's the thing with me, is like, I love reminiscing, and I love the fact that people enjoy the music that we've created, but I still feel like there's more that we can do. So I try not to live too much in that, embellish too much in that praise. It's great. And Usher, I've known Usher since he was 15. So I've known him for a long, long time. So, we love each other like brothers, and it's all good. But, I feel like there's still more to do.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you're still working, you're still touring, that's still, putting music out there into the world. I mentioned a little while ago that I've been seeing a lot of you this year. Literally yesterday, you popped up in my YouTube sort of recommended, watching thing, but it wasn't for your music. It was a Bon Appetit video where a sommelier was ranking, I guess, like musician and actor involved wines. And
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name, but
His name is Andre Mack.
He was incredible.
He's awesome.
And I was surprised. Like, he was very polite a lot of the time, but you could tell that maybe some of the wines weren't up to his normal sort of standards.
Yeah.
Your wine, however, and Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas' wine stood out to me. So he said your wine was a really great entry into the world of Bordeaux, and like he was very impressed by the price point, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I knew I was going to be speaking to you. How involved are you in the whole wine deal?
Well, again, we leave a lot of the things up to the experts, but they were gracious enough to involve us in the process. There's a gentleman, I always forget his last name. Well, I don't forget it. I just don't pronounce it very well because it's very, very French. His name is Damien, okay? And he is a well-renowned winemaker that lives in Bordeaux, France. And our wine, obviously, is a Bordeaux, so it was grown, the grapes were grown in a vineyard called Saint Auguste. And it was all created by this and curated, or rather, grown and tended to by Damien. And they let us know step by step how it goes. They took pictures of the chateau. It was really, really beautiful place. I haven't gone yet, so I'm looking forward to taking my trip to Bordeaux to see where our grapes are grown. But they let us in on the whole operations, and the most interesting part about it is that our grapes were grown through the science called genetics, which is the process of playing music to the grapes. As we all know, grapes are plants. So just like how we see our mothers or grandmothers talking to their plants and stuff, hey, little baby, it does affect how the plants grow. And it's the same thing with grapes. So with our grapes being completely organic, no pesticides, nothing touches the grapes, everything, every grape that survived learned how to survive and fight off the diseases and anything else that, grapes have to deal with in growing full and happily through just organic ways and through our music. They would play not just Bach, Beethoven, and Vivaldi, and Brahms, and all those other composers, but they would play Boyz II Men music.
Nice. Gives it a smoother flavor.
Yeah, so the grapes, as Andre mentioned, is very smooth, very organic, and very solid. And he tasted exactly what me and our team wanted for the type of wine that we wanted to represent us.
That's so cool. I love it. We have to find a bottle here in Melbourne, Felix. There's got to be.
Yeah, it's that's the one thing. It's tough. It's tough because the wine business is so it's crazy, and knowing how to move alcohol from state to state, let alone country to country, it can be pretty tough. But you can get it. I don't know how it ships to Australia. But if you go to harmonywines.com, you can go to the website and order some. I am not sure if it's available to be shipped in Australia yet, though. So I don't want to.
Maybe we'll have to find a sneaky Californian friend that can pop it in the post for us.
Or just bring it over on some carry-on. Yeah, just pop it in your suitcase next visit. Just a full roller bag full of wine. I love it. Well, as we've been talking about, you've been busy. We caught up with you in January or February this year. We did talk a lot of watches back then. I'm really curious to kind of hear how that's evolved for you over the last few months. I know sort of, there's been a few new additions, but why don't we kick it off with that new Tudor you got? Tell us about your Tudor Black Bay.
Yeah, I got the Tudor Black Bay 925. That's the silver case, ladies and gentlemen, and it is a beautiful, 39 millimeters? It's 39, right?
Yeah. 58, yeah.
Yes, 39 mil. And the reason why I wanted to make sure and note, because it really fits different from a lot of the other watches that I have, because a lot of them are either 40 or bigger. And it's such a comfortable watch. Like it's beautifully crafted. It's lightweight. And again, I love the interchangeable attributes to any watch. And I think I've worn that with everything. I've worn that with sweatsuits, and I've worn it with, a little jacket and blazer, and, it still look good. So that's one. I love the idea that they did encase the watch in silver. That was very ballsy of them. And Tudor's kind of been the rebellious little brother of Rolex, which I dig. They've taken a lot more chances than the bigger brother, which I think everybody, all of us watch enthusiasts, are enjoying and appreciating, considering that sometimes the difference between, a watch upgrade is literally just a millimeter in size or something like that. and that's pretty much it. And maybe they change the movement around, they change the movement, make it better. It's a longer power reserve, whatever, just those little subtleties, which is nice. But Tudor literally just aesthetically just changes the game, which is what I really enjoy about Tudor. And I love the brand for that. What else was this? Say again.
Well, I was just about to say, I suspect we're about to mention the same thing. Andy, he just messaged me before saying there might also be something from AP that's recently.
Yeah. I just acquired an AP Royal Oak Offshore, which is the 43 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. That's the 43. And it's the black dial with the red accents on the hands, and sub dials, like just really, like, it's been a while since I've had a Royal Oak Offshore. Like, it's been years actually. And being an artist, I try anyway. I try to do what everyone else isn't doing.
Yep.
Sure.
And although AP, their Royal Oaks are flying off the shelf, you can't find them anywhere. I mean, honestly, you can't find any watch. Like, everyone has acquired disposable income to just go ape shit and just kind of buy all kinds of things. So even the Royal Oak is no exception, but still, or the Royal Oak Offshore is no exception, but the Royal Oak seems to be the more popular brand, whether it's just the plain dial or the skeletonized one with the double balance wheel, and like those watches you can't find, and if you do, they're going way over retail, and like the one that I got. So but it's still a great watch, and the cool thing about having that one is that's not necessarily the popular one, if you know what I'm saying. It's not necessarily the one that everybody's running to the ADs or running to Chrono 24 to try and buy one. Like, you can still, acquire some of them. I'm not going to, lie, but because everything's inflated, but these aren't the very popular ones. But wearing it and kind of being different from all of my colleagues is the goal. So while everyone's wearing the Royal Oaks, and which are beautiful watches, they're beautiful timepieces, I went left and I did something different.
Well, I mean, as you sort of mentioned, all of your colleagues, there's something funny that's also sort of happened recently was Diddy's video on Richard Mille. So what's your take on that, where he was sort of saying that men should buy houses, not Richard Mille? What do you think of the brand?
Well, what I think Diddy is saying is what honestly a lot of people are saying.
Yep.
And he just had the balls to say it. But believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, everybody doesn't like Richard Mille. And me having one a couple of years ago and then trading it and like saying it's just not me.
Yep.
It's not my flavor. Like it might be someone else's, and that's totally fine. But when I see them, I mean, shoot, they're just as big as Panerais. Like, just get one of those
Yeah.
and save $300,000. It's like, I mean, when you really think of why they cost so much, it's not necessarily because of the watch itself. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's, are they cool? Sure. They're cool watches, but are they worth 900,000? No. They're absolutely not. And no one's going to tell me anything different. No, but now some people say, well, if it wasn't a demand for it, then it wouldn't be worth it. Which is true.
Yeah.
Which is very, very true. But with most things that are in demand, those demands change.
Yep.
And then the real value reveals itself. And the thing that I'm concerned about, especially because I know guys that like have like sick Richard Mille like collections, you know, $2 million worth of watches, just Richard Mille, you know, that you know is absolutely insane. And I'm sitting there like, bro, like I don't know. I don't know if the heritage will last.
Yeah, it could get over real quick.
And I think that's really my concern. Well, I want to ask you guys, because you guys have a better understanding of what that watch is than I do. I just know the little bit that I do know. And from what I know, outside of, yes, every screw, even the torno shape, the strap, the hands, all the other stuff is custom, which I get. Richard Mille has to pay for that. You know, they got to pay for the overhead. I get all of that. But with that being said, the movements aren't that special.
No.
Just correct me if I'm wrong.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like the movements aren't that special. As a matter of fact, the original Richard Mille started with AP movements. Am I right?
Yeah, a division of AP that like does high end stuff.
Right. So they use some of the complications that AP originally used for, say, their concept, you know, tourbillons and stuff like that. You know, they threw Richard Mille a bone when he was trying to, you know, get his shit off, and you know, now he's kind of doing his own thing. But Richard Mille is a PR thing.
Yeah,
he put his watches on the Pharrells and the what's the track star from
Usain Bolt, was it?
Thank you. I think it's Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
Oh, Johan Blank.
Yep.
You know, let me
all
see,
the tennis
a couple of race
players,
car drivers. Yeah, Rafael Nadal. I mean, it was a great PR look. It's awesome. And again, they're fun watches. They really are. They're a lot of fun. But to wrap my head around spending $500,000 for a watch that has a Velcro strap, like again, a lot of people will say that I'm not hating. I've had one, so it's not even. I'm not even like this isn't a person that hasn't seen or hasn't had the ability to get one. I personally just don't think they're worth the amount of money that people are paying for them. And again, Diddy basically said what a lot of people are saying. They're very ostentatious. It's very, and it's almost like how I felt when, you know, you see when I was first introduced to, you know, having some money or whatever. And the first thing I swore I wouldn't do, and I got one in my garage right now, is buy a Porsche, because the stigma behind people that wore, or rather drove Porsches, they were pompous assholes. So no, don't get a Porsche. Yeah, you know, the Porsches are for those, you know, stuck up, uppity, you know, goofballs or whatever. But you know, that changed obviously. But the point is that like Richard Mille just basically says to the person that's wearing it that I have enough money to blow 6 figures, close to 7, on a timepiece, and I just think it's silly. But you guys can give me a little education on just the mechanics of Richard Mille. And it's not me dogging them. I think they're good watches. I'm just saying they're not worth the amount of money that people are paying for them.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's all marketing. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that you bought a Richard Mille at retail and you lost money. And it's just, it's market trends at the moment. And I think a lot of what's driving the hype is people seeing an opportunity to make more money. And all that does is draw more people to the brand, which just pushes the prices and those premiums up.
I also think that the brand has been very good at doing one thing consistently. Like
That's true.
They're not like, you're 100% right. Are they worth $1 million? I don't think so. Certainly not if it's a toss-up between that and a house. But you know what I mean? Like, if you can afford to spend $1 million on a watch, sure, why not? I mean, you probably don't have too many problems if that's the case. But I think what they do better is the marketing, and they're very smart at that. Like that's what the real hype should be around, is their business model. Like, it's incredible how they've done that in 20 years. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and you're right. It's like, no, let's face it. People who buy Richard Milles are not worried about their mortgage being paid.
We hope not.
So it's not for the common avid watch buyer or something like that. Like, even someone who's at an upper, even a higher scale. Yeah. It's just such a different level of decadence.
That's an interesting point, because it's one of the few brands that you cannot get into unless there's no sort of entry level into Richard Mille anymore, right? It's six figures.
Not at all.
And I can't think of that many brands that don't have like an entry level that's 4 or 5 figures. Like even at retail, I don't think you can get a Richard Mille sort of sub $100,000 anymore. Like, and even like the not hot older models are still, 120, 130, and everyone sort of talks about like get in before this goes to a quarter. So, and maybe that's it. Maybe you're exactly right, Shawn. It's it's one of those brands where it's just like the entry is so high. It's like, we talk about brands like Rolex and Patek and AP being, the Ferraris of the watch world or whatever, but like you can still get, 10, 20, 30 if you're lucky enough to get at retail.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Mille, you can't. Like, there's just there's nothing cheap. There's just nothing cheap about the brand.
Yeah, and that's really just it. That's the sobering part of it. The fact that you can stand next to someone that has a $900,000 Pharrell edition, Richard Mille, and then I can have on my AP, or the white gold DayDate that I just purchased, and look just as good and look just as official.
Yeah, tell us about the DayDate. We got to talk about that.
Yeah, I just acquired a white gold DayDate presidential bracelet with the factory bezel, or rather factory dial, with diamonds and sapphires in the 9 and 6.
Yep.
Not mistaken. Yeah. So I just acquired that too. And again, this is, these to me are mainstays. Like these will never ever go away because they haven't. Like, I've been buying DayDates since 1992. And with the exception of maybe size and movement, nothing's changed about the watch because it doesn't have to. What I mean?
It's iconic.
And it will always stand the test of time. And me being a little older and having a better understanding of that, that's the reason why I buy what I buy. But it also deters me from not buying certain brands. And and again, it's no shitting on Richard Mille at all. I'm not doing that, but I just think that it's more hype. It's a hype piece more than just the actual, quality itself. For most Richard Milles, you can't blow on it without it breaking. Like, why would I want to have a watch with that is that delicate? You know what I mean? Like, especially with me, and again, it's a lifestyle thing. With guys that I know in the industry, the hardest thing they do is grab a microphone and rap or sing or something like that. The rest is done by their assistants or their butlers or their drivers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They don't pretty much do any hard work at all, except moving their Goyard bag from the Rolls Royce
to
the
the counter.
G5. You understand what I'm saying? So, with those guys, they're allowed to kind of like wear those kind of, very pretty things. But, I'm still a father. I drive my kids to school, and I'm in the studio and I work out and I go to the supermarket and I go to play, I like the balance of being able to be an entertainer and just Shawn. Yep. So the watches have to match your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So again, I understand the Drakes of the world and the Jay-Z's of the world and all those guys who practically are who they are.
Yeah.
I'll put on a $2 million, $4 million all sapphire cased green thing.
Yeah, what is it at that point? Yeah.
That more power to them is awesome. But that's just not my vibe.
Some sage advice, Shawn. Well, thank you for coming on, mate. We're really excited to get this auction up and running. So it's going to be, this episode's live on Friday. It'll be happening on Saturday. So you'll still be you'll be in and awake, and you can egg people on in the comments with me to kind of get those prices up.
A gentle reminder that we have it on audio. So if it hits 5 times over retail, you're getting a little personal.
That's right. Yeah, you'll get a song by me.
Yeah. Well, that's gonna be exciting.
Definitely not sung by Andy and Felix.
Well, if you guys want to chime in on the backgrounds, I'll kind of.
Let's just see how it goes. Like, let's just feel it,
Yeah, just feel it.
Go with
It's about feel. It's about feel.
I love it, Shawn. Thank you so much. Very exciting to be doing this. Great cause, and we just can't wait.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thanks for your time,
Felix. It is always an absolute treat to catch up with Shawn. He's very generous with his time, and his passion for Micah's Voice, for charity, for watches is undeniably strong. So we hope that everyone joins us in supporting this initiative and this auction. Everything is going to be linked up in the show notes. We're going to be hammering it through our Discord, and which there is going to be a link to join. If you want to get in touch with us, otthepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on Instagram and follow the auction, ot.podcast.
Yeah,
Felix.
if you want to be making those bids on Instagram from 8 a.m. tomorrow, I believe, do it. Just get in there, throw some numbers down, and if you're lucky, you can end up with not only a very cool SevenFriday, which is I think it holds up.
It's very cool. I've got it in front of me. It's amazing.
But you'll also support a worthy cause with Micah's Voice. So go do it. Hit pause, go over to Instagram, make a bid.
Yeah. Throw some money down for a great cause. And look, we'll see you guys next week.